we beat the Soviets, now we beat the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And so already watching the Soviet retreat across this bridge back into Uzbekistan, if you see these dramatic images of the tanks, moving, a lot of people interpreted this as like, we are going to change the world. And now we're turning to the Americans. And our local national governments are backed by the Americans. So let's start with those places. And then let's go strike, the belly of the beast, which is America, which is New York. And going back to Bin Laden, your question about, what motivated him, again, he was not a rigorously trained Islamic scholar. And that I think, when this comes up in our classes, I think especially young people, I mean, people who weren't even born on 9/11, I mean, they're shocked. They see his appearance. They see him pictured in front of a giant bookshelf of Arabic books. He's got the Kalashnikov. He's got what looks like a religious scholar's library behind him, right? But if you look at his words, I mean, one fascinating thing about just our politics, and just one thing that kind of sums all this up, I mean, the fact that on 9/11, we had to have a few people, a few experts, people like Barnett Rubin, who was an Afghanistan expert. So that was one way in which I think, I'm not faulting him personally, but it's just one way in which that relationship appeared to be, formed, right, of linking Afghanistan to that moment. If one looks actually, at what bin Laden was saying and doing, people like Richard Clarke were studying this. There were Arab leaders. The Arab press was watching this because he gave some of his first interviews to a few Arab newspaper outlets. But speaking of our American kind of, monolingualism, a lot of what he was saying wasn't known. And so I think for several years, people weren't reading what bin Laden said. I mean, experts are reading it in Arabic, but there was great anxiety around translating his works. So, we have Mein Kampf, we have all this other stuff. You can buy the collected works of Lenin, Stalin, Mao, whatever you want, in whatever language you want. But bin Laden was taboo for American publishing. And so it was only Verso in the UK that published a famous volume called Messages to the World,